Welcome to Shawnee Mission Unitarian Universalist Church. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Rose, the minister of SMUUCh. It is a joy to see you all and an honor to meet you again in your home. To begin our service, I invite you to try on a sense of presence, a sensitivity to time and space just for now. Let all the rest fade away and come into the sacred space of your own body and your own world. Go ahead and get a piece of paper so that we can continue with our March writing practice, or you may use the 1 minute of writing time to listen to the beautiful music and let your tension out, let yourself be in the moment, and let in the new life. Just a few announcements. Firstly, do not be a stranger. Reach out. Go to the SMUUCh webpage for ways to get connected to the community virtually. In just the last few weeks, we have found ourselves having to be courageous in ways we didn't know we would, but we as a church community will get through this. We are hereby kicking off our annual stewardship campaign, and we invite you to share in these weeks of stewardship work not only by giving generously to keep your community serving you, but also we invite you to build connections by participating in the community aspects of this campaign, engaging with each other, reminding each other that we are part of a #courageous church. And now I invite our board president, Gail Robertson, to come forward.
Launching a stewardship campaign in the midst of a pandemic was not a strategic choice. But the more I think about it, the more I wonder if it's rather perfect timing. Because when I think about what drives me to give so much of my time, energy, and financial resources to this church, it comes down to connection. And this time in our history forces us to look at what is essential, what is needed, and what feeds our souls. And connection to this community is why I'm here and why I give.
Please go to the SMUUCh webpage and click on the Our Community tab for the link to your pledge form. Together, we are better. Together, we are a #courageous church. Come, let us worship. As you join us for our opening hymn, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door, hymn number 1, I invite you to allow for a subtle blessing of your own vicinity to take place. Sing to your own windows and doors, to the thresholds you cross.
May nothing evil cross this door, and may ill fortune never cry about these windows. May the roar and rain go by. May faith strong, the till every casual corner blooms into a shrine. With laughter drown the raucous shout, and though these sheltering walls are thin, may they be strong to keep it out and hold love in.
We light our chalice and speak the covenant of our church. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with one another.
This is the time in our service where we expand the caring love of our community. I invite you into this moment by putting your feet flat on the floor, drawing your awareness to your breath. Come into a moment of stillness. This is the time where we draw to heart and mind those in our midst who are suffering. Today we draw to heart all who are sick, all who are struggling to recover from this illness, and their family members who are not able to be with them in the hospital. We think of the bereaved who cannot gather for memorials, for the suffering that is sweeping the world over. We grieve. We draw to mind the nurses and doctors, aides, techs, and all essential workers. Know that your wellness is on our hearts and minds, and that each time you go to work, we are indebted to you for your courage, your service, and your calling to care for the rest of us. And we draw under the wing of community everyone who is truly isolated, people who are locked in with violence, people struggling not to use or self-harm. Know that you matter to us, that you can get through this, and that this too shall pass. Please reach out. I now invite you to imagine someone you know who is suffering. Draw them into your mind and heart. Imagine their face. And I invite you to send them a well wish or a prayer. And now I invite you to make a personal commitment that you will reach out to them today, if you are able. And lastly, I call to our government to enact a swift set of pointed actions towards universal health care. And to our leader and his cabinet, may they fall on their knees in repentance and spend their lives begging their gods for forgiveness. May a great wave of enlightenment pass over this great nation and turn us around to place the earth and her beings at the heart of our every prayer. And as always, we rejoice over the exquisite beauty in this world, as small or life-changing as each piece of beauty might be. You are now invited to share your joy or sorrow. Please comment in the comment section of this live chat, remembering this moment of sharing happens online and remains public for all viewers joining us today. As you do so, I will light all the candles for all our joys and sorrows that remain unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. And now please join me for a moment of silence followed by spoken word. I invite you to breathe deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. Give yourself this moment to rest, to soften, to become present. Imagine that with each breath, your breath reaches all the way down into your toes, that it swirls up into your legs to where you are seated, where you can feel your body touch the earth. And I invite you to breathe into your stomach like a balloon filling with water, and breathe out of your heart like a spout. I invite you to breathe into your hands, to feel what they touch, to notice tension and allow it to drain out. And as you reach this place of presence, I invite you to let out, let be, and let in. Let out, let your breath out. Just let the anxiety and the fear drain away, if just for a moment. And let be. Become aware of yourself in space and time, in between the was and not yet. Focus on your body, your surroundings. And I invite you to let in. Prepare yourself for new life, new beginnings, new changes, and new times. Let out, let be, let in. Blessed be, and amen. And now you are welcome to either get your pen and paper, or you are invited to meditate as you sit quietly on the prompt as we listen to music. The prompt is, the threshold I am on is ... The threshold I am on is ...
Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing in dark and rain, sorrow and pain, still you remain, singing, calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing, voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing, in dark and rain, sorrow and pain, still you remain, singing, calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing.
A reading from Paul Williams. When you go out and see the empty streets, the empty stadiums, the empty train platforms, don't say to yourself, it looks like the end of the world. What you're seeing is love in action. What you're seeing in that negative space is how much we do care for each other, for our grandparents, for our immunocompromised siblings, for people we will never meet. People will lose jobs over this. Some will lose their businesses, and some will lose their lives. All the more reason to take a moment when you're out on your walk, or on your way to the store, or just watching the news, to look into the emptiness and marvel at all that love. Let it fill you and sustain you. It isn't the end of the world. It is the most remarkable act of social solidarity we may ever witness.
In times of darkness, there are lights along the way to guide us. There is the lantern of hope, the flame of love, and the still glow of mindfulness, all of which would mark our path clearly if there weren't some other blazes along the way, such as the darting bombs of anxiety with such unexpected blasts that we can't help but follow them, or the deep inferno of fear beckoning us down into the pits of our own despair, or the eerie blue halo crowning us everywhere we go, that subtle doubt in ourselves, the loss of faith in humanity, that we won't survive this. But as we pick our way through dark times, it is up to us to choose our guides. I've recently been giving a series of sermons on sci-fi literature, and I have to say, one very popular narrative is the end of times fad, and it is quite a fad. People of my own generation were raised on stories of the apocalypse, pouring into movie after movie about zombies and contagions and the sun needing to be kept from imploding. But the thrill of dystopian storytelling has a longer history than just us. No, we are not the first ones who squirmed on the hook of horror. Indeed, the Torah itself begins with a massive flood that wipes out almost all life. And in the Quran, there is a massive flood that wipes out almost all life. And in the ancient Buddhist texts, there is a massive flood. And in Norse mythology, flood. Greek mythology, flood. Aztec, flood. Yoruba, Ojibwe, Chinese, Hawaiian, and like 50 other mythologies from around the globe, there are massive floods that wipe out almost all life. Basically, we can zoom out on Earth and turn our clocks back a tiny notch, 4,000 measly years, and see that it is very human to be compelled by a little apocalyptic fear. Indeed, these very stories have often been used by religion as fear tactics to scare people into submission. They've been used as threats for what would happen if humanity didn't behave a certain way. They've been lit up like torches and led us like moths to the flame, guided us further into fear. But as we Unitarian Universalists know, there's more to religion than fear, that love is always greater than fear. And we know that there's more to these myths than we were taught. For if we peer deeper into these stories of mass destruction, we find a hidden hearth glowing as true and constant and regular as the triumph of the human spirit in every disaster we have ever lived through. For these are not stories of the end times. These are stories about how we survived the end times. Shining brightly in each culture's myth are striking acts of love, methodical acts of planning in the face of danger, and remarkable acts of social solidarity. Because in every one of these flood stories, the people organized together to preserve what was most sacred. These are people who moved swiftly, steadying their breath in the face of imminent danger, like Noah, who might be raised up, actually, as a great scientist. For in the face of rapidly rising waters, Noah was so methodical that he managed to preserve ecological diversity on Earth in this story, getting 2 of every single species. And in the Hindu tale, it's all that and the seeds as well. In Islam, the whole community came along in the boat. But in every story, the ones who are caught up in safety are family. These are stories of how we survive. And these are one after the other stories about putting all living things into the boat and rowing off across an ocean of our own tears. Our little vessel stuffed to the gill with everyone we love, with the most sacred things tucked into the cabins below, our communities, our church, our teachers, our neighbors, our elderly, our children, our animals, even seeds taken hastily from the bottom drawer. And fastened to the bow of the ship swings a light, guiding us into the dark. Twinkling and bobbing in the sleeting rain, the flame guides us across the surface of disaster in its little floating chalice, leading us onwards towards love. For we can trust that our vessel will arrive on the shores of safety, not without damage. But if we allow the light, if we follow the light of love, we will find ourselves washed up with our souls intact. For we are not unlike the people in these great epics, living on a prayer. And what better prayer for us to offer into the darkness than our fervent plea to love, guide us. Blessed be, and amen. The work of the church depends on us. Now, a message from longtime member and lay leader in regards to our stewardship campaign, Jim Christ.
Hello, my name is Jim Christ, and I have been a member of SMUUCh for 17 years. I fell in love with SMUUCh almost immediately, and after 17 years, I'm still here because despite our imperfections, our occasional missteps and mistakes, our hearts beat as one. I hear that heart beating, and this feeds my spirit. When I come to church, I am no longer I am we, a great big we. And this big we that we are is a beautiful, loving, amazing thing. Sometimes we stumble, but we always get back up again. Sometimes we make mistakes, but we always try to learn from them. Sometimes this community heart we share comes close to breaking, but always, somehow healing happens. This big, gloriously imperfect we that we are can do big things. We can feed the hungry. We can shelter the homeless. We can embrace the marginalized. We can create a safe space for all seekers. We're living through some dark times, and I want to be a part of something that brings more light into the world and works to make positive change. That's exactly what this big we that we are aspires to do. I'm very proud to be a member of SMUUCh. I take my membership seriously. My membership is my commitment to the church and to myself. I give my time and treasure joyfully, and in serving, I am served. Thank you.
Your generosity of time, treasure, and talent continue the mission of this community. Please give generously by clicking on the link in the video description or go to the webpage to give your pledge.
Everybody chill. No, you don't have to take a pill. You don't even need a drink. Maybe just some time to think. Everybody cool it. Just pucker up your two lips and kiss someone you love. Maybe you just need a hug. Everybody pause. No need to cover up your flaws. You don't need to have a cause. You can do it just because. Everybody quit. Just find a quiet place to sit and sing yourself a little tune. Doesn't have to be a hit. Everybody chill. Everybody chill. Chilly, 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 chill. Chill, 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 chill. Everybody cool it. Just stop and smell the tulips. And remember that some way, somehow, everything comes back to life. Everybody chill. Don't be afraid of what you feel. Love will guide us, that's the deal. You just gotta keep it real.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please join us for our closing hymn, Love Will Guide Us, number 131.
right us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace that's right us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
This week, I invite you to take your time to smell the tulips, to call those who you love, knowing that our survival depends on it. For more information about membership, please look to the description box below and click the link to fill out our Get in Touch form. Go in peace.